Once again, this is PragerU.com. Make men masculine again.
Rape, murder, war. They all have one thing in common.
Yeah.
Men. Aggression, violence, ambition unchecked by
I mean, I've made plenty of videos about female rapists. Women can be, obviously women don't fight as much in the wars, but they can be just as complicit in the political movements that lead to war. And what was the other one? Rape, murder, and war? Was it murder? I don't remember. Anyway, women murder too, just not as much.
Conscience, all the stuff of toxic masculinity, right?
I guess.
And the solution is obvious. Make men less toxic. Make men less masculine. Make men more like women. But I'm here to tell you that that way of thinking is not only wrong, it's dangerous.
It's not only wrong, it's dangerous. I don't seriously object to anything that she's said so far, but I object vehemently to the delivery of this. I mean, that is goddamn hideous. Blech.
Here's why. When you try to make men more like women, you don't get less toxic masculinity. You get more. Why? Because bad men don't become good when they stop being men. They become good when they stop being bad. Aggression, violence, and unbridled ambition can't be eliminated from the male psyche. They can only be harnessed. And when they are harnessed, they are tools for good.
Yeah, they can be eliminated from them. I mean, like, unbridled ambition. Trust me, there's tons of men all across this country who have let go of unbridled ambition, okay? The dude slicing your fucking ham at Subway at the age of 48 has probably let go of his unbridled ambition. So, yeah. And he's probably also not murdering people. But then again, most people aren't. It's pretty fucking rare to murder someone. I mean, at least for most of us. Traps are the next stage in evolution of men. PragerU, get used to it. Okay. A trap fan.
Not for harm. The same masculine traits that bring destruction also defeat tyranny.
Yeah, defeat the tyranny of other dudes trying to take over the world. So, I mean, like, look, you're not even arguing for a position that I'm necessarily against. I'm probably more on your side so far. But that example is dumb because you show a bunch of dudes in tanks. Like, you might think this is bad, but what about these guys raising the American flag? Well, yeah, but they were fighting against other guys who were like, we're going to take over the world and establish our order. So, I mean, you're basically saying we need toxic masculinity to fight other toxic masculinity. It's not a great argument.
Traits that foster greed also build economies. The traits that drive men to take foolish risks also drive men to take heroic risks. The answer to...
How do you know? Like, how do you know that? How do you know that the very same trait that causes someone to do walking on a tightrope, which if someone wants to do that, that's up to them as long as they don't do it over fucking city traffic or some shit where they're a danger to others. How do you know that it's the same traits that as the fireman going into the house to, you know, rescue the burning children and shit? You don't know that. It could be a totally different kind of courage, a totally different kind of risk assessment analysis. I mean, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And the thing about the thing before that was the same trait that give us greed also builds economies. Yeah, greed, like most things, has positive and negative attributes. I guess maybe that's what you're trying to say. Maybe you're trying to say that there's two sides to every coin, and every attribute that could be used for bad could also be used for good. And, in a general sense, I agree with that. Your specific examples are easily misinterpreted, and it's kind of easy to poke holes in them, too. So you might want to work on those specific examples or at least lay a better groundwork beforehand. I don't know why I'm even talking to you as if you wrote this. You're so obviously just a mouthpiece. You're so obviously just a talking head. You're putting like zero of yourself into any of what you're saying. You just like, Hi, I am a mouthpiece. Here are some things that I want to say.
Toxic masculinity isn't less masculinity.
Okay.
It's better masculinity. And we know what that looks like. It's a young man opening the door for a girl on their first date. It's a father working long hours to provide for his family.
Okay.
It's a soldier risking his life to defend his country.
Yeah, how many of this is the first two, whatever. I mean, I could be a pedantic asshole and try to find fault, but this one here, like, how many of our soldiers are risking their life to defend our country? Aren't most of them risking their lives to attack other countries? You know, like, when's the last time American troops, like, propelled an invading force on the shores of America? Like the War of 1812 or so, kind of around there. So it's been a while since any troops risked their life to defend the country, okay?
The growing problem in today's society isn't that men are too masculine. It's that they're not masculine enough. When men...
I mean, is it really tethered to either of those things? Like, you're kind of missing your own point here, because you're saying, like, there's these good attributes and there's these bad attributes of everything. So masculinity has good attributes and bad attributes. There's nothing that says that society needs more or less masculinity. What it needs more of is those attributes that you find some sort of merit in. Whether they come from, like who gives a shit if the dude who runs into a burning building, a flaming building, is a flaming homosexual? I don't care if he runs into the fire and saves me, and then later on he goes and gets fucked in the ass by two dudes in a bathhouse. I don't care. I don't care how masculine he is or how not masculine he is, as long as he can do the fucking job. I don't care if the person working to support their family is a man or a woman or whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, the masculinity level of society should not be a major concern for any fucking buddy.
Embrace their masculinity in a way that is healthy and productive. They are leaders, warriors, and heroes. When they deny their masculinity, they run away from responsibilities, leaving destruction and despair in their wake. The consequences can be seen
everywhere. All right,
everywhere.
you jumped the shark, bitch. You just jumped the fucking shark. Maybe you'll recover. Let's see how you explain that premise. I shouldn't just dismiss the premise offhand. Let's hear it.
1 in 4 fathers now lives apart from his children. And children who grow up without a dad are generally more depressed than their peers who have a mother and a father.
Okay.
They are at far greater risk for incarceration, teen pregnancy, and poverty. 71% of high school dropouts.
I'm pretty sure that the poverty thing is you're putting the cart before the horse on this one. Because most of these dads that leave their kids, it's because they're already poor. Like, you see way more of that in impoverished areas. And poverty is tied to all those things. Poverty is tied to depression and this and that. So you're looking at the wrong root cause. Correlation doesn't equal causation. I think that you're looking at the wrong factor here for causation. You're saying it's about masculinity and it's about these dudes who reject it. And by the way, who's to say that the guys who are leaving their families behind are not masculine? Maybe they left their families behind to go fuck a bunch of hookers and snort a bunch of coke. You ever think of that? There's tons of fucking big, burly, masculine men who are like, man, I don't want to raise no stupid fucking brat. I'm getting the fuck up out of here. I want to be free. So how is it this, like, how is that about masculinity? How is that about the rejection of masculinity? It's not. You're not connecting these dots at all. 71% of high school dropouts. Well, I'm one of them, so let's see.
Dropouts are fatherless.
Nope, I wasn't. I had a father.
Of all the rocks upon which we build our lives, family is the most important. And we are called to recognize and honor how critical every father is to that foundation. That was said by then Senator Barack Obama in 2008. If we are honest with ourselves, he went on, we'll admit that too many fathers are missing from too many lives and too many homes.
Yeah, well, It's interesting that he said that, but look at the example of his life, because he didn't have a father. He grew up without a father. He grew up raised by a single mother, and he grew up to be president of the United States of America. Just saying. Maybe look at the example of his life rather than just some quote that he said once under who knows what circumstance to who knows what audience. He's a politician. You can find him saying pretty much anything.
As much as we try to deny the need for real masculine strength in society, there's no denying its necessity. Healthy families and strong communities depend on the leadership and bravery of good men. Yet, the current trend is to feminize young men in the hopes of achieving some utopian
Who is feminizing men? Like, what is this? What do you mean? Like, look at this graph. Like, there's a graph. Is there data to support this graph? No. This is just a made-up bullshit graph. There's no fucking source or citation. There's no numbers along the side. It's just like, you know, used to be masculine, now they're feminine. We got a chart. Must be true. This chart is not tethered to any sort of empirical reality whatsoever. You pulled this chart straight up out of your fucking ass. Keep tearing the stupidity. Don't mind me. All right, thanks, Doom Kid.
Notion of equality and peace.
All right.
And it starts at the earliest ages.
Does it?
In the school classroom, boys are invariably the problem.
Invariably?
Aggressive games like
invariably. So meaning that no girl ever gets in trouble in school. No girl there's never been a call to a parent like, your daughter has some issues, your daughter has some problems. It's invariably the boys are blamed for everything. That's what invariably means. That means never is it looked at as the girl's problem. Okay.
Dodgeball have long been banished. We tell young men that their intrinsic desire to compete is wrong.
Yeah, no we don't. No we don't. No we don't. There's still competitive sports in school. The winners still get a trophy. Yeah, we're a little bit nicer to the losers these days. Society has changed in that respect, where now the losers are like, well, you tried your best. And I don't agree with that. But to say that all sense of competition has just been wrung out of things is false. Even academically, that's not true. Like, last I checked, they still give Fs, right? You're still all graded against each other. Competition still exists in schools. Competition still exists everywhere. It has not been eradicated from the human fucking psyche. You know, maybe they don't play dodgeball anymore, probably because there was a bunch of fucking injuries from dodgeball. Now, I mean, like, you want to know my opinion on the whole dodgeball thing? I don't give a fuck one way or the other. I mean, personally, when I was a kid and it was time to play dodgeball, I fucking hated that shit. I didn't want to play dodgeball. Have you seen what a massive fucking target I am? Do you know how slow moving and fat fucking I am? You know, so yeah, of course, if we're playing dodgeball, my ass is out quick. I have the reflexes of a fucking wet potato. So yeah, I didn't like dodgeball. So I don't give a shit that they got rid of it. But, you know, I'd rather play dodgeball than that lame fucking country line dancing shit they used to make us do in school. We're going to teach you how to do-si-do. Oh, yeah, that'll come in fucking handy.
Everybody gets a trophy. Don't run up the score. This anti-male tilt continues on through higher education and into the
Don't girls play sports too? I'm pretty sure girls also play sports, and I'm pretty sure that they're also encouraged to try to win the sports. You know? Like, girls play fucking volleyball and shit. There's girls' basketball teams at most schools, etc., etc. Sports are not just a man thing. Women have sports too.
Workplace. It has created millions of tentative men, unhappy women, and confused boys and girls. Here's a secret that everyone knows.
Has it? Citation needed. Citation fucking needed, bitch. Citation needed. You guys are really good at throwing graphs and pie charts together. Not too great at actually saying where any of the data from them comes from. You know? Come on, TJ, you never heard of the Institution of Male Masculinity that studies femininity of men? Lol. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know what? Now that you mention it, I have fucking heard of that. You're right.
Women want real men. Men they can count on and, yes, look up to. No amount of...
So, at this point, she's talking about her own fucking daddy complex, you know. Women want a man they can look up to, a strong man, a father figure who will pound them in the ass roughly. Oh, I'm sorry, I went too far there. No, yeah, that's what you want. That's fine. You want what you want, but you don't speak for all women. Not all women want the same thing. Not all men want the same thing. Not all people want the same fucking thing. You speak for you. You speak for you only. Why'd I got Asian there. I don't know what that was about.
Feminist theory will change that. I don't know any woman at any age who is attracted to a passive man who looks to her to be his provider, protector, and leader. Every woman I know wants a strong, responsible man.
Dude, that is not true. I know plenty of domineering cunt women who have men wrapped around their fucking finger, okay? I feel like in my first relationship, that's what I was. Yes, honey. Yes, sweetie. Anything you want, baby. Oh, you let me stick my pee-pee in you, so anything you want, baby. She did not mind that fucking equation at all. I was the one who's like, this ain't working for me. I would like a divorce. Not to cast aspersions. That's what she wanted. That's what she liked. It turned out I didn't like that. There's plenty of dudes I know who have controlling bitch wives who want to run them. To say that you've never met a woman like that is bullshit. You bullshit, lady. You fucking bullshit.
That's not a consequence of a social construct or cultural pressure. It's innate.
Okay.
The devaluation of masculinity won't end well because feminine passive men don't stop evil. Passive men don't defend, protect, or provide. Passive men don't...
I think the idea is that if all men are passive, then there won't be any evil men. Like, if everybody's passive, there's not going to be an Adolf Hitler. Of course, you're right. The flaw of that is the more you pacify men, the more any sort of, like, masculine, rugged man is just going to push them around and be like, you my little bitch. Yeah, that's why I fucking destroy you. Oh, you gonna listen to me, motherfucker. You know? So, yeah. It's fine.
Lead. Passive men don't do the things we have always needed men to do for society to thrive. In his book, The Abolition of Man,
how do you know?
English social philosopher C.S. Lewis writes about this problem.
Look at him. Look at him. Look how masculine he is, dude. Citing C.S. Lewis as a source. They've got practically a little fucking Mr. Mackey stick figure representing him. And this video is supposed to be about masculinity. Shouldn't you be, like, quoting, like, Brock Lesnar or some shit, or Mike Tyson? Like, this is what Mike Tyson had to say. I destroy him, you know? Like, shouldn't you be quoting someone like that instead of scrawny little stick figure C.S. Lewis? I write fanciful children's books about unicorns. Fuck off.
Describes the tension between cerebral man and visceral man. By his intellect, Lewis explains, man is mere spirit, and by his appetite, mere animal. We need both. Take away one, and you're left with a man who's either weak or wicked.
This video was bad enough before you started trying to get philosophical with it, okay?
And in a world of wickedness, weak men are nothing more than enablers of wicked men.
Okay.
Rape,
but aren't those wicked men fucking examples of the very kind of men you're talking about, at least in terms of masculinity level? So maybe we shouldn't make that such an important factor. You know what I'm saying? Like, didn't you say at the very beginning of this video that it's not about masculine or not masculine, it's about good or bad? Which is, by the way, that's also a fucking simple-minded bunch of nonsense, but a little more cogent than where you've ended up. So, okay.
Murder, war. They all have two things in common. Bad men who do the raping, murdering, and warring, and weak men who won't stop them. We need good men who will. It's not masculinity that's toxic. It's the lack of it. I'm Allie Stuckey.
No, because the weak men who won't stop the rapes and murders, yeah, that is a problem. But the men who are actually doing the rapes and murders are the bigger problem. I think you would agree. So I think that you're fucking kind of placing the blame at the wrong people's feet here. Instead of blaming the weak men who aren't able to go out and be Superman stopping rapes, maybe you should blame the men who are out there raping. And by the way, there are also women out there raping. They just don't get as much shit for it.
For Prager University. Thank you for watching this video. To help keep PragerU videos free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.
You know what? Go ahead and make a tax-deductible donation to PragerU, because, you know, they've provided me with a lot of good content over the years. Why the fuck not? The Patreon you see before you is the Pessimist Productions Patreon that includes Deep Fat Fry, The Amazing Atheist, Cinema for Cynics, Ideology, TJ Does Life. We are currently sitting at 3,550 patrons. If you want to know why we have so many, then maybe check it out, see if it's right for you, etc.